You're tied up with a low energy or a low level of intelligence or maturity. That low level of intelligence or maturity carries an energy that becomes restrictive towards you. When you get tied up with that energy, it becomes a point of trauma to your body. So not only is your body working against you, but it's working against you along with that person. How could your body be working against you? I'm glad you asked. Your body literally houses your subconscious mind. Or in other words, your body excretes hormones that either make you feel good or feel bad towards you living out your dream. Are you still with me? So if in fact you take on the energy of that lower level of intelligence or lower maturity state, it becomes a point of trauma in your body, and your body is responding by excreting hormones that don't agree with where you're going. So you don't feel good about where you're going anymore. And you begin to feel guilty, and that guilt state is working in conjunction with the person with the low level of intelligence or maturity and that energy. And this is why you feel comfortable with them and don't even know why. Why do you feel comfortable with your abuser? I'm glad you asked. You feel comfortable with your abuser because when you were to choose to operate at a higher level of intelligence that was called for your purpose in your dream, you chose to stay with them. Now you got caught up and tied up with that energy. That energy or that tie-up became a trauma to your body. Now your body is responding in conjunction with the abuser. And you are stuck in a place where you don't know why. You can't break that tie. Your body, which houses your subconscious mind, is now working in conjunction with the person on the lower level of intelligence. And now you can't even get out and away from that situation. When you cannot let go of the current state that you're in because you believe something worse is going to happen, it simply means that you have an insufficient vision of your dream. It means you don't have a sufficient vision of your dream. Let me walk you through it again. Remember, this is about taking inventory of the people who are around you. If the people who are around you don't carry the level of intelligence to meet the level of intelligence or maturity that it takes to bring your vision to fruition, then what happens once again is you get tied up in the energy of that lower maturity state. Once you get tied up with that energy of the lower maturity state, it becomes a distraction. That distraction becomes a trauma to your body. Now, the hormones in your body will begin to tell you things when you begin to dream that are not in conjunction with the dream. What am I saying? So you begin to feel guilty. And you begin to get tied up and begin to think like your captor. It became a distraction. Now, that distraction is now housed in your body as a trauma. And now the hormones that are excreted every time you try to escape, or you try to live your dream out, or you try to grow. Not only is he or she working against you, but now you begin to work against yourself. Now it's your body that is tied in with that person. And it's beginning, I shared this with you about a month ago, to attempt to unseat the new thought. What's the new thought? The new thought was the dream. The new thought was the desire. The new thought was the vision. What did I share with you the vision did? As a light bulb, it took on an energy and a frequency. Now your body as a subconscious mind is attempting to unseat the new vision. And you hear yourself talking to yourself, telling yourself you don't deserve it, telling yourself the things that you did in the past to not deserve the vision that you have. Then you call a psychiatrist, or you go to a meeting and you try to talk about it. But if they don't know what I'm sharing with you, they can't guide you out of that space. This is why, Brother Alvin, it's important that we only allow people in our space that carry the level of intelligence or maturity that matches our vision, our dream, and our desire. Is it making sense? Remember, the current state now, for some of us, we have literally become that person who's tied into our captor or our abuser. Okay? Because you dumped yourself down to meet them where they were as to not make them feel bad, because you do carry a higher level of intelligence, but you just couldn't find nobody, Angie. You couldn't find nobody to talk to. You couldn't find nobody that shared this. That's because it's a rarity. But when you live at it, or you make a choice to reside in that place, what you do is you emanate a frequency or an energy signature that brings those people to you. Are you still with me? Or the foundation is forged or laid for a relationship with that person. But be careful, beware, because you might just get out of life what you want. But when it shows up, will you get scared and run off? Can I share with you what happened in the garden? Oh, some of y'all got it already. So when the potential of who Adam was approaching him in the garden, watch what happened. Or in other words, the intelligence level of the all-knowing was approaching Adam in the garden, in the cool of the day. He ran and hid himself. Why? Because he had been messing around with a lower level of intelligence. He messed around with a lower level of intelligence that carried an energy. That lower level of intelligence now distracted him, and it became a point of trauma in his body. And now he began to work against himself, and when who he was began to approach him in the garden, he ran and hid. Oh, some of y'all gonna catch this on the way home. He ran and hid, and the Most High asked his creation, who told you you were naked? You must have been messing around with a basic level of intelligence when my child, my son, my reflection, my image, you're supposed to be a reflection of me. Naked to whom? Are you getting a hold of this? I generally find that people are not hooked on anything or even addicted. They just don't possess the intelligence to make a better choice. You don't possess the intelligence to make a better choice. So that doesn't mean that you got to go to school and read a book in order to do this. It means for you to raise your level of intelligence to where it is you know you reside. You ain't got no business living at that basic level. If in fact you're a clairvoyant constructive, you know you're a clairvoyant constructive because you lived in that space where you began to create things off an invisible model, living off an invisible model, and creating at the same time. The innovating and creating and constructing says that you carry the level of intelligence for a clairvoyant constructive person. But people have not been affording you support for that. Or in other words, chapter 2 talks about the investment of esteem in order for you to now come to the place that you live your greatness. If no one is investing in you, then you have got to do the necessary work first. You've got to raise your level of intelligence. It's not an addiction. It's a function of your intelligence for you to stay in that mess. And now that function of your intelligence says that you're working against your own dream. Your body, as your subconscious mind, is working in conjunction with your captor. And let me just call her that, or call him that. Because we position ourselves to live with that Stockholm Syndrome that now we feel sorry for the person who done kidnapped us. Well, I'm helping somebody today. The reason I made you aware of this intelligence chart is because it is not about making a change to what's in front of you. So this is how we approach it. It's time for me to change my life. It's time for me to get rid of all of these people. And see, this is the part where then we make the mistake because you feel challenged. You feel like I've now attacked you on your maturity level or attacked your intelligence. I made you aware of it, but it's not for you to take and do something primal or basic concerning them, because once again, that's a level of intelligence. I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to walk away. No, that's not what we do. We garner a higher level of intelligence that will position us in a place beyond what is holding us back. We garner or raise our level of intelligence to a place that will position us someplace else. When you raise your level of intelligence, you will make the necessary changes. Once again, you're not going to make the necessary changes at the level of intelligence that you're at. It's time for you to raise your level of intelligence. So now you position yourself in a place outside of what's holding you back. Then, along with that position and the mindset, you will begin to make the necessary changes. I like to put it to you this way. It ain't always good to snatch your head out of a lion's mouth. Sometimes you got to back up a little bit and pull out. That takes more intelligence than to wake up in a place that says at any moment this lion can move his mouth and crush me and I'll die. Well, how many of y'all know if you try to snatch it out, that lion is going to do just that? So you recognize and you realize the danger that you're in. You're getting ready to die in that place. And so now it's time for you to garner a higher level of intelligence that says, I'm not going to snatch my head out, but I'm going to ease my way out of this thing as to survive the encounter with the lion. Are you still with me? You cannot, somebody say I cannot. You cannot have a systemic existence of ignorance towards what you want. In other words, you should not wake up every day not knowing what you want. You will eventually be carried away by others people's reactions to what you want. Remember, we're going back to the beginning of this thing. If you don't wake up every day, Angela, and keep our wants, desires, dreams, and vision at the forefront of our consciousness, you run the risk of being carried away by someone else's reaction to what it is that you want. You may not have said it. You may have been exemplifying what it is that you want by making moves. Making a move to come to this particular ministry is exemplifying something, because it says to people who don't understand or who don't have that higher level of intelligence that you must be crazy. You're going to mess around with that dreamer? You're going to mess around with the visionary? You're going to mess, yes, because we both carry that level of intelligence. And just because you don't, you see it now? Because they don't, now, when you didn't break the tide, the energy of that is now holding you back from showing up. If you're distracted now, that distraction becomes a point of trauma in your body, and now you feel bad about coming here versus staying home with them. Now you get tied up in the energy of what they want, and if you have not woke up every day with a systemic existence of what you want, your dream, vision, and desire, you run the risk of being carried away by that other person's reaction towards what you want.